2024 meeting of the Port of Coupeville. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I am Mary Ann Burr, Commissioner of the Port of Coupeville, District 1.
That's District 2, Commissioner present.
Martin Van de Pass, District 3.
We have one change to our agenda, which will be 9.5, which is a presentation of a proposed legislative change that apparently the WBDA is looking for input.
Yeah, it'll be a discussion item and will be titled Commissioner Term Extension.
Okay.
To solicit feedback from the board. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to our public comment period. This time is for the public to address the commissioners on agenda items or other concerns. The board will consider all comments, but typically will not take immediate action. Please state your name, city of residence, and limit comments to 5 minutes. Do you have any?
No public comment. No public comment. We're good.
Okay, now we move on to number 6, Commissioner action, the approval of minutes of December.
And up to,
No, that's me.
okay. Okay.
Let me put you over Don's nose. There we go.
All right, we have the approval of minutes of the November 13th regular meeting and the November 27th regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the November 13th regular meeting and November 27th regular.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous approval. And we need to sign these.
While you guys are signing, I just wanted to let you know, since we're not meeting at the end of the month, that I have submitted the final grant reimbursement request for the DAP grant. So that it will be closed out and it should actually be funded before we come. And the other thing is that I will be sending you the financials for November and next week.
That's the Dave Paul grant.
Yes,
Perfect. Fantastic. That's for the envelope projects. We used, it was leftover from the piles and cast. We were able to use it, some of it for the envelope project. That's good. But it was only, it's not most of the envelope project. It's a little bit, right? A little bit. Yeah, but every bit. Yeah, but a lot of them was piles and cast. Yeah. Okay. We could have used it on the rest of the piles and caps, but they were so late in doing their knock, which is a notice of completion, to get, we said, you know what? Let's get this money spent. Yeah. Before, in case it doesn't go through the next biennium vote. So we went ahead and used it. So we have 2 sets of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to do with the vouchers,
Right.
and John's gonna read those.
I make a motion to approve the Port of Coupeville voucher approval document dated December 11th, 2024. The voucher number 24-1201 through 24-1227 for a total of $29,344.92. Electronic vouchers EFT-1201 through EFT-1203 for a total of $23,564.63. For a total on the voucher document of $52,900 $909.55.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Is there any discussion? I have a question. Or Dawn, is it possible to include the word payroll on this document when you say electronic direct deposits? It doesn't, I look on both of your documents and I see you need to know what the initials stand for on the other one, and it doesn't say payroll anymore.
Oh, yeah, but that's because you had us combine the EFTs, and I will, next time, make sure that there is the, a dash in payroll after the, description.
Okay, because it just makes it easier to deal with anybody who has a question.
Is it
Yeah.
all payroll? Is that line item include things that aren't payroll?
Yes,
There's payroll taxes, and then the health insurance.
So you
Coverage.
guys want it all combined into one. So that's why we took away the title payroll, because it's not all payroll, it's various things, but we can break it out.
Related to payroll, employee expenses.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'll just put more description in the line items, and that'll be good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we can call for the vote of
No.
approval.
No, we can't.
Discussion.
We have a discussion.
Oh, right, this was discussion, we have one,
John,
I have a discussion.
okay.
So you just asked, is anything under the electronic funds besides payroll, health insurance?
Mhm.
You know, we've been improving health insurance. I mean, this is like 10% of our entire um voucher document this time is health insurance.
yeah,
You know, I'm very much in tune to all the issues going on with health insurance. I think it behooves us to learn more about who is control source. What are we buying for the employees,
Mhm.
things like that.
to perhaps negotiate with other carriers or, like consider other options.
I think I have a vague sense from what I've heard from Chris about using Costco or something. Is that still true?
Yes, because they will actually insure a business that has one or more employees.
Well, that's a good point in having them see, now you're aware of that 10%, but I'm not, because it's not broken out in the document.
Well, it is $5,005 right there.
Oh,
And that's almost 10%.
well, it says control source and I don't know what that means.
I will make sure that it has a little bit more description in the line item for you.
John, do you think we should have maybe a workshop to talk about health insurance options for employees,
Well,
or
that's a once a year thing. We've already committed to 2020.
well, we can work on 2026?
And,
Yeah.
and just so you guys are aware, they were the only option for a company that had under 10 employees.
Yeah, there's more restrictions. I didn't want to get into detail.
No, but
Yeah,
starting early, like you said, I think is a wise thing, because these ideas seem to grow with time and change. Things come and things go. And to stay current, we need to start thinking about it. Thank you, John.
Yes. Here's the problem with health insurance. Right now, the number one reason for family bankruptcy is a denial of the major claim by your health insurance plan. Number
Well,
one.
that's something to bring up when we're talking about what we're gonna do in the future.
I mean, it's just, that's just, innocuous looking little number and issue. But it has deadly consequences if Chris has a major event and they deny it.
Yeah.
Or any one of the employees that's relying on this health insurance.
Well,
And that is the tactic, is in the news, the guy that just got shot. Your United Healthcare CEO. Now, the guy shot him was a wacko. There's no justification for shooting somebody. But at the same time, the anger that's pouring out of that event up there shows is a national issue about health insurance denials. And the games that health insurance plans play to keep their C-suite bonuses going every year and not.
But in terms of what we have the power to affect in this,
There are alternatives, there are alternatives.
I mean, in the past, it sounds like from Don and Chris's discussion that usually the executive director assesses and decides on what health insurance to use. We could, as a board, become more involved in that process
More, just more.
or more informed. We could just request Chris to summarize how his decision-making process and what he looked at, what were the options? Or I'm just feeling you out for how you want us to proceed on this.
I think, you know, again, because you've signed up for a year, I'm cool with that. But just, you know, we shouldn't let time fly and all of a sudden be sitting here, you're going, oh God, we might as well sign up for it again without knowing, you know, is this the best option?
So for 2026, maybe the board could review a few options and help.
We would start looking at that in August, and probably August, because October is typically when I start doing the renewal process.
Okay, can you just kind of add it as like a
Oh, yeah.
topic?
Should do it
Keep us
for August.
We'll
Yeah, absolutely.
be involved.
I'm doing that with our insurance right now, but I don't want to get off topic.
Yeah,
We're just approving
yeah.
the options right now.
Is this a monthly premium?
Well, it is, it's a monthly
Or
premium,
is that 2 weeks?
but the contract is for a year.
But this is a dollar amount.
Yes, yes,
So this is a $60,000 a year approval we just gave.
Mhm.
We're
Well,
involved,
this is for the month's approval, but
right?
yeah, with the budget, I guess we approved.
Yes, thank you. Looking at all our financial obligations is very important because it hasn't been done in detail before and needs to be done. So now I call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous approval of the vouchers.
Who made that motion to approve? John, did you, John?
Yes.
Yeah, he read it all.
And I was second.
So it's the document we're signing. for.
Yes, they're now signing the voucher document.
And maybe we can get into executive director.
You think off, we can get this, you think, Bill? Yeah, maybe there's actually got one. You have passed the signature in the west, and you're gonna have authority.
Right, we proceed to the exec directors. Number one is the broadband project.
Yeah, so the broadband project, we did send the revised RU back to Zipley last week. And we're waiting to hear back from them. There's a couple areas that we just need to work out, but nothing monumental. Everything looks very positive. When Zipley gets back to us on this latest round, I think there's really nothing more to cover. The big thing was that they're calling a meeting with the Public Works Board, making sure this arrangement we have going forward, there is verbiage in the IRU that holds them accountable for monthly reporting and getting back to us on status and things like that, which also rolls into what's called an A19, which is showing that status and that progress when we're going for reimbursements with the process called A19 point. So right now, everything looks positive. I don't see any negatives. I don't foresee anything standing in the way of this moving forward. It all looks good. We feel very good about the RU. We feel very good about how Zipley is handling what they're going to be able to do once this thing gets up and going. We have finalized all the billing that I know of with PSC for all the pole attachments. That's what you guys approved last one, was like 9,000, all the labor involved, all the pole attachments. I've canceled all of that progress. I've canceled the trench project up the highway that we were going to be involved in. That's all Zipley. It's all going to be Zipley. And even if it didn't work out with Zipley, I have to cancel this anyway. So everything is falling in place right now as far as making sure that we are utilizing the grant monies correctly. We are not working with ACO as of August 7th. So that's still in play. So everything right now is solid on the broadband. So no
Right.
issues, nothing really to report other than we're Zipley.
And what obligation does the port remain having? Once Zipley does its business, what,
If we sign the RE with Zipley and Zipley starts their work, all we're doing at this point is receiving status and progress reports. And if they submit an invoice, we are validate, and Dawn does a lot of this. We'll validate the invoice, look through all the status reports and just send it to Dawn. So we're basically at this point with Zipley would be more of an admin role, a minor admin role, which we will be reimbursed for our time.
Okay, but,
So really,
because that's another dollar amount that I'm hanging in the balance, so to
you
speak.
know, we're gonna not only try to recover the labor cost, spent to date, but going forward, we will be reimbursed for that as well.
So going forward, the port is just an intermediary passing things
Mhm.
along.
For us,
And the only cost to the port is the time of our staff to do that.
which would be minimal. Dawn, you know, when she goes to submit this for reimbursement from the PWB and the Washington State Broadband Office, you know, that's all included in her fees.
How
So,
many years does this extend?
what do you mean? Sorry?
The
Well-
construction or the.
So the involvement of the
There were
port of
4 maybe.
Coupeville as a pass-through.
As until the project is built and there is there's a period when the system gets built. We will actually go in and approve the system. There's a term for that, I forget what it was. Where we look at all the data that each of those 345 homes are being pinged, and here's the speed, and then boom, we switch it on and that's it.
And we're
We're not
done.
really involved even in the process of building it. We're not that involved. We're just the pass through. But once the system gets switched on, at that point, that's it. The grant gets shut down, everything gets shut down, and Zipley just runs their business and does their business. And then will help us with reporting going forward, because we'll have to report on a quarterly basis probably going forward.
For how long?
Our ownership term, which
20
is
years.
25 years. Now, the WASBO, well, with the PWB, it was 15 years, but WASBO trumped it with 20. But it may be annual reporting at a certain point. I'm not really sure yet.
And will we be able to, those costs? Will we be able to recoup those costs from Zippy?
No, once the grant is shut down, the grant is shut down.
But it's just that reporting.
Yeah,
So
I'm not-
our obligation would be to continue that.
the single audits that will happen from the federal government, that'll all be covered. That'll all be covered. Once the system gets built and we approve it, and now it's Zipley running it.
Yeah.
There may be quarterly, but Mary does them, and it takes what, 3 or 4 minutes at the most? It's not a big deal.
Okay.
No, we're pretty much at.
Well, I'm wondering because I was under the impression that our insurance rates increased because we had.
No, once it gets turned over to Zipley, that'll all be on them. The whole idea.
And our insurer will not be charging us as much
No.
for.
No, because once it gets sent over to Zipley, in a sense, they will cover all costs. That's the whole idea of us going this route, was you're not gonna make a penny, like we were trying to do with the Sound, but you're not gonna spend a penny.
And we won't have any liability for damage
No.
or
That'll all be,
telephone poles
nope.
falling over.
If an aerial fiber line goes down, Zipley. If a farmer digs up a line, it's Zipley. They'll fix it. We don't have any liability.
I think everyone saw Monday, and that we are on internet connectivity.
Mhm.
Doctors' offices could not see patients to check them in because of the
Okay,
line going down.
okay.
Yeah, so it's all going well. I mean, and as soon as I hear back from Zipley, I'll let you guys know, like I do, right? And I'll get you a copy of that area,
So in terms of timeline, are you expecting maybe next meeting, we would vote on the IRU?
I really hope so.
And
I
then
really
when,
hope so.
have they given an indication of when construction would start?
No, I mean, there's gonna be some engineering, Martin, that's gonna happen first.
Maybe.
Yeah, they've surface engineered the lines, the routes, they already had that stuff in there. But as far as where they're gonna put the handholds, all that stuff, they have to engineer that out, but she said 1 to 2 months. And then
Total construction? Or
No.
plan?
engineering
Yeah.
and planning, and then from there they'll go into construction.
So maybe throughout next year, maybe into the following year.
I am
it'll
hoping that they will be well into construction and almost finished by the end of 2025.
Okay. How about wharf envelope?
So wharf envelope repairs, have you guys been out there in the last week? Any of
You
you?
haven't been there, but watched.
Okay, it's looking good. So we met as a team yesterday. We're in the finishing stages of this. We're looking at detail now. We may have an issue with paint. There are places where the paint it's not looking like it should. So we all met as a team yesterday. We meet with our architect and Darren, the owner of Woodbridge Construction, on Friday to walk the job, showing all the things we are not happy with. So the windows and doors will be done. We are hoping by the 18th. I will say this, by the end of December, with the exception of all these minor repairs that we're gonna want them to do. And a possible repaint, we don't know yet. That building should be done by the end of December, well before the February target date to be done.
This is a pre-painted siding, right?
Mhm.
Is that the part that's not looking good, or is it like the corners?
Well, there's a difference between brushing on a good layer of paint over a good layer of prime.
Yeah.
And then there, which is $110,000 bid versus some guy with a spray gun spraying on a thin layer of prime possibly and possibly a thin layer of paint for $12,000. And we've uncovered
But we
that.
thought it came already painted.
No, they pre-painted in the warehouse. They weren't gonna slap everything on it and paint it. They were gonna pre-paint it, which is a smart idea.
Yeah.
But they only pre-painted one side, the exposed side, which is fine. And there are areas that we think that the paint is not adhering correctly, so we're gonna deal with this on. Yeah. There's other little things that we want them to correct. It's all construction stuff. But we literally walked the entire building, looked at almost every square inch of all the walls and said, okay, there's our punch list. So we're in that final.
We're bringing our staff, construction people to help. with all
Oh,
this.
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, just that we've assigned him to the wharf. I'm gonna say permanently, but he's been assigned to the wharf since this all started.
Do you think it'd be a good idea to have like an independent, given just the size of this project, like an independent kind of inspector or something to?
We have our architect coming
Okay,
and then the town of Coupeville will come and do a final inspection. But they've been kind of looking at it along the way. The things that we're looking at aren't structural. They're like, why did you cut that board longer? Why did you splice two boards instead of using one long board? It's just the detail stuff now. It's the finishing work.
Yeah.
And we're not happy with some of the finishing work, so that's what we're looking at. They haven't made a major error. They're very good at what they did, but there are just some areas that we like how it looks. And it's not finished. We want it finished. So we're not going to prove any more pay applications until we're satisfied with the work. But we'll have our architect there.
And the voucher we approved last time for $700,000. Now, has that already been issued to them or?
Yeah, that was mailed out already. There's subs. We're okay with that because that's the bulk of the work. They got the bulk of the work done. It's really now just bare putting in the windows and doors and sealing and framing up around the windows and doors and then us and all our finishing work. Like they use a nail gun. The nails are held together with wire. So when they shoot that nail in, sometimes a little wire literally sticks out. People can cut themselves on that. Those are the things we're talking about. Nothing for the board to lose sleep over, but Mary loses sleep over it. I lose sleep over it. You guys don't lose sleep
But
over
of
it.
course, I heard that the siding was pre-painted and I said, oh boy, no problems. Because
first-
that's what people see. The people see when the wharf looks good. And we don't want any kind of paint failure, and I thought we'd avoided the possibility, and apparently that's not true.
Well, we're investigating that we have an email out to the company who was hired, a sub by Woodridge to paint. Because they were charged a little over $12,000 to paint on that. When the original bid came in at over $100,000, so there's a difference in quality. And we're gonna investigate and make sure that quality is not compromised.
And then the question is longevity of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and making sure that it didn't void the warranty, because that's the Alcoa is a 50-year lifespan on that wood.
Huh.
Cause like I say, that's what everybody sees. They don't see where the spliced boards are. They see the paint job.
Yeah,
So you're in contact with the manufacturer to make sure that our.
We are
job is
gonna-
Sufficient for
we
their
deal with the
warranty?
head, which is gonna be Woodward. We reached out to him. We reached out to the people who painted it. We went right to the vendor.
Yeah.
So, and that, but we're gonna be dealing with Darren, who's the key decision maker on the entire project for Woodbridge. So we have a meeting with him on Friday. I'll keep you guys posted.
Is there any pullback on the payment?
What's that?
Pullback or, where you don't pay them everything until you sign off?
Yeah, that's where I am right now. That's why I just said I'm not gonna approve any other pay applications until the details have been agreed to and looked out. Mary's already pulled out all the guarantees of workmanship and craftsmanship and product guarantees in the contract. So we're all loaded for bear. I just want to keep you guys up
Great.
to speed. Any questions on 7.2?
No, I think we can go to the bulkhead.
Okay, the bulkhead is delayed again, but we're thinking that probably right after the first of the year, they'll bring out the dredge. Which in it's not the barge, the barge, yeah, I'd love to bring out the dredge. Bring out the barge, start working on the bulkhead, weather permitting. There was a delay in a cross in communication with purchasing one mitigation point from NIMS. Remember that night there with the piles and caps. But that's all moving forward. Mary's been pushing us forward as best as we can. And we're looking at probably getting the bulkhead started the first week in January. The good news is on that, that the stairs, which is a different permitting process and a different approach, is also probably gonna land on the same week. So they'll be able to come in with the barge, rebuild the bulkhead, and then walk right over and rebuild the foundation of those stairs, which is something I've been dreaming about since I started in May of 2017. So
Same contractors doing that.
yeah, same are doing both. Yeah, exactly. They're very well versed. They know what they're doing, that's for sure. Again, it all comes down to permitting. This has all been delayed because of permitting.
So
So,
that little donation box, it was a miniature
Yeah.
work building that used to be attached to the fence.
yeah, that Chua took and took the money out and put it in their general
What happened
fund.
to that little model?
It was actually we loaded it in the back of, the short version is we loaded in the back of Jesse's truck, not her. And she took the money out of it and then, what's her name over at the candy shop? Gwen, right across from Honey Bear, said, we built that. She wanted it back. Right?
Okay,
She's on our side, like that money's supposed to go to the war. And they actually reconditioned it for us and gave it back to us.
who's they?
When,
Okay,
yeah, her husband's the one who did it, I believe so. He's the one who reinforced the inside because people are breaking into it. That has been given back to us, and in the plans, when they rebuild the bulkhead, they are gonna sink 4-inch PVC piping down at locations that we predetermined. So when the bulkhead is built, everything's set and done, we can take that thing and stick it right down on those pipes, fill it full of cement. And we will have that donation box owned by the port, managed by the port, back where it was.
and we'll have the only key to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it'll be ours.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that whole thing with Jen. Yeah, so that is, yeah. So we're on track, we're not on track, but we are looking again to get that project rolling out first week in January, so.
Okay.
Any other
Okay,
questions on 7.3?
dock repair.
Okay, dock repair, we're just moving forward, we just got approved our shoreline exemption from the town of Coupeville, yay. So that's good, that'll be sent in to complete the JARPA. Now it's just a matter of going through the United States Army Corps of Engineers and getting that permitting process. We already have Doug Thompson working with NIMS. God, I give me PTSD to say that acronym, about the mitigation points. Here's the good news, is we have mitigation points left over from the pile and cap project because we removed more tonnage of creosote piles than we had originally estimated. So they wouldn't give us our money back, of course. So they gave it to us as mitigation point credit. So any mitigation points that we need to drive these new steel piles for the new dock, we'll have those mitigation points pretty much in.
So
play.
everything you're talking about now relates to the Corps of Engineers.
Well, the Corps thankfully has a wonderful representative in there now. She has been really responsive, love working with her. Again, it all comes down to NIMS, the National Marine Fisheries Services, right?
Ah,
They're the ones that stall and want to charge you $1 million to do a $200,000 job.
for me, would you explain NIMS?
National Marine Fisheries Services,
Thank you.
yeah. But no, the fish and wildlife are very reactive, very supportive. They know this is a good thing. We're pulling out wood and putting in steel, right? We're taking out a wood dock and putting in a graded dock, which allows more sunshine, which is better for the habitat and the process of eelgrass growth. So it's a good project. I don't anticipate years and years of permitting because we're staying in the same footprint. We're not expanding. It's the same exact pole. Pole comes out, a pole comes in. Dock comes out, a dock comes in, same footprint, better material, updated material. So But again, we're hoping this project will be done and completed. We really want it done by June. So we're pushing the permit, all the permitting's there, we could probably get this done by June in the high season. If not, it'll be done in the winter of 2025.
And this will take into account sea level rise.
Yeah, the piles will be driven long enough to, oh yeah, easily handle that, yeah. You bet. All right, that's the dock repair.
All right, we can move on to old business number 8.1, resolution 315 is the Port of Coupeville compensation program, which we reviewed at the last meeting.
Yeah, I also had, so. This is related to the employee handbook because which is our next agenda, item, because this is also included a copy of this in the employee, in the text of the employee. And I brought it up with Chris, and I'm still not entirely convinced that we need separate resolutions. I'm just concerned about having this in two different places where if a year from now, we update the handbook, these two resolutions will have to be updated in the future forever in sync. If we ever change one of these hourly rates, we're gonna have to update the handbook as well as this, because they are gonna live in two places.
Well, if you run for reelection, it will remind us.
I could, remind everybody, or we could choose to just keep it in one place that we could update.
But
So,
the difficulty there is that if it's only in one place, say, if it's only in this separate,
Yeah,
it obviously belongs in the handbook. Well, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't
I mean,
belong in the
they could-
handbook.
Rick
Maybe
could
that-
hand it to new employees with the handbook, but it doesn't have to be approved by.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that how I splice this into the handbook doesn't need to be in there.
Yeah, basically just having two copies of it, then if we ever want to change it, which we're probably gonna change it next year, we'll have to make sure we change both those resolutions, or there's gonna be two different versions in our old handbook, and I think it should either be in the handbook or a separate resolution.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm open to.
Yeah,
suggestions,
I
but
hear
I'm
what
just
you're saying.
Trying not to get us into a confusing.
you know,
Future
I'd
situation.
run into the same thing at the water district where you have a similar problem of remembering and having to change something that's in a big document as opposed to changing something that's it's all by itself. And maybe the handbook only has to refer to the fact that a resolution exists.
Yeah.
And then you have an easy place to keep changing it.
And you can hand it to the employees with the handbook, you can print out the current resolution.
What do other places do?
They do what we're doing, because we're following the Port of Skagit, Port of Everett, their model.
They do
So-
it in two places?
Yeah, so here's the reason why, is because number one, we've never had a wage policy before. So in order to have a policy, it needs to be approved by the board through resolution.
Okay, then,
I hear what
But
Martin's
we
saying.
could, our
Yeah.
policy could say, we will maintain our salary and wage ranges in the employee handbook. And then we could approve the employee handbook simultaneously that had it in there.
Well,
Or-
we need to approve the resolution, because the resolution is a policy.
Yeah,
Right, that's,
but we could approve a resolution that says that we have a policy and it has all this text in it, but instead of saying that the salary ranges are attached, it could say the salary ranges are in the employee,
Yeah.
the current employee handbook.
they, or will they be?
well,
Well, that's what we're discussing.
I spliced the resolution and the wage range into the employee policy, the updated employee policy. And here's the reason why I did that. Number one is we obviously need a resolution to have a wage policy. I think we all agree with that.
Mhm.
I put it here because number one, I don't see, when I look at this minimum and maximum, I don't see the port going forward paying less than what we have sitting here.
right,
On the other side of it, the port can't afford to pay more than the maximum unless they expand. That ain't happening for years.
mm,
So I see this as a very minor administrative. It takes me probably 38 seconds to go in and say, resolution 315-A. Done. So that's how I look at it, is that when I hire someone and I give them, I don't want to be giving them two pieces of paper, I just want to give them an employee handbook.
Mhm.
I have a question.
I don't want to get into.
In the future, when these amounts change, do we simply have a second resolution that cancels, we would,
Okay, or
We would need to approve it through a new resolution.
but we would have to rescind this one.
Yeah, you rescind 315 and you adopt 315A, just like we do with the,
We've done that before.
with the handbook, exactly. I actually see, Martin said he has an efficient mind and I really appreciate that. But I don't see this changing for years because the port cannot pay. The port cannot afford to pay more than the maximum I have listed here.
Mhm.
We can't afford it. So to me, I don't see anything happening unless we get a tax levy lid lift or we expand the port's boundaries and we bring in all that extra tax revenue. So we can't pay this stuff for parents, right? So,
I mean, whether it's 1 year or 6 years, I don't know. I think my point is the same.
okay,
This port's gonna exist for another 100 years and this is all gonna have to be adjusted dozens of times.
at some point in the future.
Every
Yeah.
time we wanna change any of the, or maybe add a new position that's not listed
Well,
here.
we don't have a crystal ball to know.
No, administration
years
is
from now.
always complex.
well, how many times have we changed the Commissioner Board handbook? I guarantee it's been changed more than this will be changed. Right? It became the bylaws to the new rules, so this is, to me, again, I appreciate how you think, Martin. This is just simple admin stuff that we do in our sleep, so for me, it's not a major sticking point.
To add it, just update it twice. Every time we need to make a change, we'll update.
Yeah, I would just, like I do with the employee handbook, it would be whatever it is, 237-E, and this becomes 315-A, boom.
And we just make
Approve.
sure they're both in sync and we can approve.
Yeah,
Not the end of the world, I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it-
Appreciate
no,
that.
I appreciate how you think, I really do.
Yeah,
So does 237-1D need a reference to 315 or?
it has, so the way, the latest draft that I've seen of the employee handbook. Has this entire resolution, including the next page with the actual wage ranges. Copied and pasted into chapter 8 or something of the employee handbook.
Okay,
Yes. So that way, because I don't hand employees resolutions when they come to work, we hand them the employee handbook.
Well, you're gonna print out the employee handbook, which
Right.
has the
It
resolution
has the resolution in it.
right there. So you
Exactly.
will, in a sense, hand them that.
okay, well, I'll make a motion. Okay, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 237-1D.
315. We're on 315.
We're on 8.2.
We're on 8.1.
8.1,
Before you get,
worked in.
Right.
before you get started, John, I do have other comments about the employee handbook. I sent Chris some comments this morning that you guys surely haven't had a chance to review.
We're not on that.
Well, before he makes a motion, well, go ahead.
I thought we were on 315,
We are,
We are.
and you're talking about,
well, they're related.
okay,
I was gonna propose when we get to the next one that there's more updates that I'd like to at least discuss, so I was gonna push for not approving that one today. That's all I was gonna say.
oh, so if we didn't approve 315, you have additional things for the handbook, is that what you're saying?
I think in either way, we could approve 315. None of my comments relate to the wage amounts,
Okay,
but, and then at a future date, we could approve the employee handbook.
Okay, so I'll go after 315 this time.
one thing at a time.
Yeah,
I make a motion that we approve resolution number 315. Relating to the Port of Coupeville's compensation policy.
I'll second that.
There you go.
Have we had all the discussion we need already, or do we need more? Okay, I call the vote, all in favor, aye,
Okay.
unanimous.
That only hurt a little bit. Bring it to a point.
These are labeled drafts.
That's for Martin.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. This one's stamped up.
These are yours.
And then. I have some discussion points about the next one if you want.
So the next one's 237D, right?
Yeah.
That one doesn't have the draft on it.
Yeah.
But
No.
316 and 317 have draft watermarks on them.
That's right,
I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but I'd rather not have them on there.
because they're gonna get scanned in and.
We
Rick,
better have
can you pull
some,
up 316, 317, see if you can remove the draft watermark on it? We've read them.
since, you're right, those are pretty straightforward, but this 237-1D. We have a motion?
Well, I mean, we could make a motion before we discuss it, but.
I'd rather discuss it first.
Okay.
I don't care about the Robert's rules.
Okay. Yeah, I read the whole handbook and had a bunch of, mainly kind of type of edits that I just noticed and Chris made most of them. And then I just got a chance this morning early to, read Chris's edits. And I had some more comments that I think you guys should get to review after, if Chris makes another
Okay.
round of edits before we vote. to
Are they
approve.
are they important or are they just,
Typo.
typo or?
No, well, there's a few things in here that I wanted to bring, just kind of read actually, because they're kind of,
You do?
so. These aren't things that I'm requesting any changes on, these are just things that I noticed reading through the whole thing that kind of struck me as interesting. One is that, this is on page 4, the Board of Commissioners has adopted these policies. And any amendments require approval of the Board of Commissioners, just that Chris is drafting and editing these, but these are our policies.
Right, 237-D, right? Resolution.
Yeah,
policy.
right. And then. This, I don't really have a bunch of concerns about this type of thing, but in watching old, commission meetings, a lot of things came up last year about. How employees have access to talk to the commissioners, if they have concerns specifically about. The executive director, or if they just have concerns about their job that they feel aren't getting adequately met by the executive director. And there's a bunch of processes in this document. About performance feedback and that, an exit interview, employees separating from the Port of Coupeville are encouraged to participate in an exit interview conducted by the president of the board. And I don't know that we've ever done that,
No.
but it's in our policy. I think it's a good idea.
Read that one more time. That one sentence.
Under procedure 3.5, exit interview, employees separating from the Port of Coupeville are encouraged to participate in an exit interview conducted by the president of the board.
It doesn't say who's present, does it?
Well, that was one of my comments for Chris. Originally, I said we should just put the president's email on the cover sheet of this and the executive director, and he put the executive director, but not the president. So I was like,
But the president will change.
it might change. We could put all 3 commissioners on there. Just
But that
Commissioner
will
1,
change.
Commissioner
That
2,
will
Commissioner
change
3.
over-
Well, it's not our names, it just says Commissioner 1.
There's only one president of the board.
There's only one president, but it could be a different numbered
Person.
commissioner.
That's why I said the president of the board. That's why I didn't put a commissioner number, because it changes.
But I guess I just want an employee who's reading this, has some grievance, to feel welcome and encouraged to contact the board.
Absolutely. Well, that's also in part of the other process, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much of our handbook is boilerplate from somewhere else?
This was written by a professional HR person
It's
in a previous slide. And
For this port specifically or for multiple ports?
it was written, it started out, I took a HR policy guide, and then I used other port employee handbooks to make sure that specific RCWs report specific. So this employee manual is number one, federal law specific, state law specific, and port specific.
I think we have to remember that everyone has their own mind and their own way of looking at things, and always looking for a rule to support what they want to do. Doesn't happen. People are people, and if an employee had a grievance, I think they know easily how to get in touch with whoever they want to.
It's actually written in here that if there is a grievance with the executive director, they need to go to a port commissioner.
Mhm.
The whole idea, right? So.
Yeah, the president specifically, yeah, I was just. I think they know that if they read that, I think we should just have contact information on the.
Our
Front
contact
page.
information is on our website.
It's
They
everywhere.
work here. We all have it memorized.
It's on your cards.
Yeah, I have no contact with the employees, how would they ever have met me or
It is-
get my card?
It is difficult though to put one email address because each
Yeah.
position fluctuates the person.
Which one's president, yeah, and
Yeah.
we need a resolution to make changes to
I
it.
think it'd be, as long as we just say president of the commission, we're cool.
And that's what we've done.
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah,
Okay, and then let me see if there was anything else that. The other one was about grievances that we've just talked about. It's pretty clear that. They can outline their grievance in writing to the board president. The board president, in consultation with the vice president and secretary, will take whatever action they deem appropriate.
Actually, I used your verbiage on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was your verbiage.
Okay. Cool. And then the last
So if you
one.
argue that, dude,
I'm trying to. I wasn't trying to. Bring it to you guys'
Thank
attention.
you
No, I
very
think
much.
it's
You're
smart.
very particular.
there was good changes, and this hasn't been updated in a while, so.
Yeah, it's good.
Feedback, your feedback was
Good.
right,
So-
directors.
I'm almost. The last part, 14.1, executive
14.1.
director performance. The Board of Coupeville Commissioners should meet at least annually in
Yeah,
executive session to review the executive director's performance. The Board of Commissioners will recommend salary and benefit adjustments, if any. The commissioners may consult with staff, vendors, and customers regarding the executive director's performance evaluation. Have we ever done that, or should we?
I can remember going through that with a previous executive director.
Is that
I've
something?
had one in 7.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, is that something we should do as a practice, or just if there's a problem?
So the reason I put this the way I did, Martin, is that I put the word should in there because it just hasn't been done. Now, David A came in, wanting to storm in and we've got to put him on the spot and all this and it never happened. Most often, Asinas, what was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mohammed.
tried to do the same thing. It's like, I bring it on, that's fine, bring it on. I give you guys a report every month, right?
Yeah, I'm not.
And it just doesn't
questioning
happen,
your-
so.
I'm kind of bringing it up
Yeah.
as a point of, well, I mean, it says we should, so it's moot
Yeah.
for me to ask if we
Doesn't
should.
say we must.
But it doesn't say we must, we definitely aren't required to do it,
Yeah,
but it also in light of this future several years off where Chris is talking about
But-
transitioning and we're talking about bringing in another executive director, do we want to have this culture in place of having,
Mhm.
this is what we like and don't like about how Chris has run things and how do we want a future person to run things?
I think annual review is a place for both, attaboys and, here's what you could do better kind of feedback. So, I mean, it's not all punitive, it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, staying flexible is important because it all depends on who it is in office and who it is holding the ED position
Yeah,
and what is happening. This port has so much going on that trying to follow every little detail becomes very burdensome.
well, I
We
think,
would know, a bunch of people holding office with an ED would know when it's time, either positively or to ask for improvements. We would know.
Well, we aren't allowed to talk except when Chris is in front of us unless we're in an
you guys. can come in
executive session
individually.
without Chris. So how would we know how each other feels?
Because we would be very brave and we would see it. We
I,
would say.
the option would be to actually put like a timeline to say, this, the executive director review shall be done during the first quarter or the first month of.
I wasn't really suggesting
I
that we
would be
change
very
the
careful.
language.
Yeah.
I was just suggesting that, I was just bringing it up as a
So
discussion
we've
point,
been
if
where-
we should do it. Well, no, so we could schedule it if we wanted to do it.
Right. I think we should do it.
I think we should do it.
There's, like a.
It'd be great.
Communication opportunity in an executive session to kind of get to the nuts and bolts of, any concerns or questions or. Attaboys and, you.
Yeah. Just an annual, I got one every year when I was in a corporate environment, and sometimes it was stressful, but usually it's the things you're doing good as well. It's like
Yeah.
feedback from your employer.
So who attends this event?
The
Just
commission.
us three and nobody else.
It would be performed in an
Executive
executive session, and any type of result from that would be in an open public session, and that's how we did it the very first time. I agree, I mean,
That'd be great.
this is an interesting system. I learned this in the wine business called curbside coaching, Martin, is where I work with my team every day. So if something comes up, we work on it, we solve it. We know that wasn't a good thing, we move on, right?
Mhm.
So I believe that there should never be any surprises in a performance review. Because if you're working closely with your team and you're coaching all the time, like you guys, I guarantee you, John had got me one-on-one and said, hey, man, that was not the right thing to say and do. You should consider this. Okay, that's a great learning moment. That's coaching. And so I totally hear what Martin's saying.
Mm.
It's in here, because when you gave me the verbiage change, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I should be getting probably an annual review of, yeah, well, I know I'm doing a good job, I know I'm hitting all my goals. So I think, obviously, we should keep this in here. It needs to give you guys options, that's what you're saying. You guys wanna do a review, let's do it. But do you wanna change anything, Martin, in this policy that is like major backbone change? To where the policy could not get approved?
Yeah, like we could approve it today with amendments.
Well, we can amend this anytime you want, just so you know.
What do you mean?
So let's say you guys approve it, and 3 months down the road, you're like, you know what, take out the ED performance section, because
Oh,
that
yeah.
should be in his individual contract.
We could approve a new.
Then you do 237-E.
Yeah. No, I mean about the changes I was brought up this morning is what those amendments.
I like the version. I think the board should have the ability to do any type of review for their executive director.
That's our job.
It's your job. Well, it's an option for your job.
So does the language need to be modified from the latest version that
I
you?
I think I'm trying to remember the specific ones from this morning that I sent you.
I haven't read that yet. to be
Okay.
honest with you. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
But what I'll do
that's
is, I will do this, I'll look at them. If they're just verbiage changes,
I
I'll.
don't
implement
think
them.
any of them were.
If they're structural and they change the meaning, I'll have to come back with a 237-E.
Why don't we call
Which is
that the
fine.
current version
Yeah,
and.
So you guys are comfortable approving a motion of the draft I've sent that none of you have read?
no, don't do that. No. I would say approve this one. I will make the changes, or I'll look at what you're proposing. And I could send it out.
Which one is this one?
What's that?
The document's not on here, so it's like, which
No, I
one is
didn't.
that document?
It's the one I just sent you. It's this one right here.
Yeah.
It's the latest one I sent. I was telling Marianne earlier, I'm not gonna print out a 20-page document just for show and tell. It's up here on the screen. When we go to save it in the network, it'll be attached. But the version is the one that incorporated everything that you said, Martin, and then Marianne, your change from director to commissioner in section 4 was the change was made. So these were,
I skimmed the electronic version. Now, your detailed analysis is, something that was at the 30,000-foot level and you were in the trenches.
Yeah,
That's your skill set you bring to the table. That I rely on. Don't screw up.
yeah, and one of them and Chris incorporated almost all those suggestions that I made into the version that we're talking about today. Like, and then I noticed a few more things. One of them is right here. It says you need to delay EDC property. We're not the EDC. That's supposed to say POC property.
where's this at?
Page 7. bottom of page 7.
This,
Bottom page 7.
I didn't notice it the first time. It's not a big deal. It's a typo. But, I think we should postpone this resolution, and Chris can look at my email this morning. And update, I think there were 3 or 4. Oh, the table of contents, the page numbers in the table of contents got all messed up.
Well, I actually reformatted all that because adding that resolution changed it all. So when they start at the bottom of page 6, but everything's on 7, it'll still say 6, so that's where it starts. So it could be a little off, but I'll look at that again. If you see actually specifics, was that in your email this morning?
They're
Perfect.
there's only like.
Well, if you guys want to delay this,
Yeah, I think we should just do it next meeting.
If it's not,
It's all boilerplate. I don't think
Table
it's gonna be controversial.
yeah, let's table this one.
okay, so we will table 8.2.
Wonderful, thank you, Nora, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, great feedback. Actually felt good to clean this thing up, though. It's been a long time. And I wrote this in
Okay.
2017.
Now we can move on to resolution 316, which is the transfer of security funds on the Cove LLC.
Yeah, this is just returning a deposit, right?
Yes,
Yeah. You want me to read it or you want
go ahead.
to? We have one that doesn't say draft.
Yeah, but I think you could propose.
Oh,
a
well,
resolution.
yeah, let's wait.
Well, he's getting it, but we'll sign the official one, so we can
Yeah.
verbally.
Make a motion, we approve resolution number 316. The transfer of funds from the maintenance fund, and the trust fund for the purpose of returning a security deposit.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
One that doesn't have draft.
Yeah.
Last time.
Mhm.
Yeah, Marie's gonna print up 316, 317, so just hang off for now and.
Well, we can approve it verbally and sign.
You can
it.
approve them verbally and then I'll have you sign them here in a second.
And then I'll make a motion that we approve, resolution number 317 to transfer the security funds of Oak Harbor Gifts and Gallery LLC, which is returning the security deposit.
Second,
Any discussion? No, all in favor? Aye.
okay.
Was that an aye, John?
Was that positive?
Oh, yeah. Aye.
Hey,
Aye, aye, aye.
okay, we're on to 9.1.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so I want to introduce you to Mike and Michelle sitting here in the front. They are the new tenants for Penn Cove Outfitters. It took over on December the 1st. And they've got all their business license and tax ID, their COI, everything's in order. They opened their doors for the first time last weekend, just for a few hours, and actually had some people wander in. And so as tradition, we'll have them introduce themselves. I will bring up their bio, and they have a little business plan they want to present. Let me just get this off real quick.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's. Change is good, change is fun.
Who's Mike and who's Michelle?
That's Mike and that's Michelle. You'll get to know John. All right, so Mike, Michelle, if you guys want to go through and just introduce yourselves. And then when you're done with the bio, I can go ahead and throw up your business plan too.
Well, thank you guys for having us here today, for one. We never, I might.
Just to be clear.
So just a brief introduction to ourselves, if I keep it short. I've only been here in Washington for 2 years, so 10. We've been together as business partners and partners for 15, 16 years now. Originally from Illinois. Is engineering. So better also. And then engineering after that. Worked for John Deere for 10 years. And then decided to open a business back in Illinois. Together, a personal training business for about 10 years. And that ran very successful. We closed that in 2019. She moved out here in 2014 with her daughters. And she ran the business marketing from here, at physical person order there. Knowing that we would close that business and we will be out there eventually. And that's what happened in 2019. It's gonna be sooner than that, my mom got sick with cancer. Lasts a little longer there, also my background is a certain scuba diving instructor, first response instructor. Avid photographer, enjoy the outdoors, and my personal story with this area is the first time I came out here, to move out here, I fell in love with Washington. And then fell in love with Whidbey Island. And a really short story, something keeps falling back to Coupeville. I don't know what it is. First time we went there, this is awesome. Just a quaint little town. In June or July, we saw that the business was for sale. I put it, "Hey, should we do this?" We both managed at the Goose. Freedom. And so right now, we really want to do this, take something else on, so we put it in the back of our heads. And just kind of forgot about it. And I was going to a VA appointment, and fast forward 6 months. 2 months, I was going to a VA appointment, come back to Oak Harbor. And just said to myself, I need to drive. Don't know why. Drove into Coupeville, drove down Main Street, parked, got a cup of coffee, excited coffee there, sat on a bench. Just sat there for an hour, looking around, pretty cool now. And then told myself, I need to walk down to work. Walk down to work, saw the sign, this is just still for sale. And I put in my head that I need to do something about that, so. Or said, we need to contact the owners. Plan to try to purchase a business, and that's kind of what happened with that. And I just love, like I said, I love the outdoors, love teaching people about the limited knowledge I know of Van Gogh and Coupeville, and hope to expand on it. I just love talking to people about the water and orchid, everything involved with it, so. It's a little bit of money. So.
My background, I was a senior sales director with Mary Kay for 18 years, had 32 geographical areas across the country. Yes, I won pink Cadillac, everybody always asks, I won 6 cars. I started that when I was 25, so I've had years and years and lots of leadership training and communication and motivation, and really give that company all the kudos for kind of shaping me in that. And when that ended is when we opened our gym. I had actually, I won a nationwide body transformation contest of 3,000 people. So that catapulted me right into that industry of bodybuilding, and I became a certified nutritionist. So by trade, that's what I've been doing. I have an online business that's diet and fitness coaching that I do. And like you said, we have a very successful business, but the separation of us, took its toll, and we found that, I have to say, I'm grateful we closed it when we did, because 6 months later, the pandemic came, and we would not have started it. So it was all meant to be. I had lived out here in the early 90s in Mukilteo, and fell in love with this part of the world. I was only here for 4 years, and my husband, I moved us back away from here, and I've never gotten rid of that needing to be here. So when my daughter was moving here, I came with her and lived in Everett for a year, and then Whidbey Island just called me, so I moved in here to Langley for 8 years. We've lived in Freeland now for 2. And I've been, ever since I got to Whidbey Island, I'm constantly going. I used to run Edie's Bluff all the time. I hope to get back to being able to do that. And I've always loved Coupeville, and I could never understand why. So this is all kind of weird. He comes home and says, "Hey, that business is still for sale." And we buy it a week later. Hey, we're rolling. So I'm very excited about this opportunity and getting involved. Not just, the wharf is amazing, and we're already loving talking to people about everything. We've been very, very in tune with the orcas and learned that story when we watched the movie Blackfish back in 2012, 2013, whatever that was, and just felt compelled to understand that more. I am not a sea person like he is. Like, I want nothing to do with diving or anything, but I love those those fish, I don't know what it is. So that's really kind of cool that we're right in the thick of it and can talk to people about that. We've already done that, just being open the day or two that we've been open. So that's exciting to us to be able to share that going forward. And, you know, I don't know, I'm feeling we're gonna be going towards retirement here, and that's what this is a retirement plan. It's just being full-time there and being more involved in the community, I think, hopefully eventually. My hope eventually we move to Coupeville. So
And we've been together, said 15 years, but we've
Yeah.
known each other since high school, so 40 plus years.
we went to school.
Went to
junior high.
Went to junior high. Right?
So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Awesome, super.
What are you guys planning, what are you gonna be offering at Pin Cove? What are you gonna be selling?
For a little bit.
Oh, that's what you're gonna do, okay. Yeah.
Pretty much, we're trying to keep the same, aesthetic that Loretta had there.
Yeah.
I would like to bring in some, we bought a name too, so I would want to keep that the same. But keep everything local as we can, local artists, local to Washington, local to the PNW.
Sustainable goods,
Sustainable,
eco-friendly. We
eco-friendly.
like that.
I would some more outfitter type business in there. What that is, I don't know yet. Whether it's guided tours or scuba diving in the future, I don't know. I know that you said so we partnered and closed years ago.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a possibility. We're working with somebody. Talk about working with Kyle.
I think collaboration with Kyle and also some of the ends, that kind of jumped in my head. He's excellent at kayaking, and I said, you know, instead of people just grabbing a couple kayaks from Kyle and going on their way, why not collaborate with a guided tour?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what outfitting is,
Yeah.
a lot, is guided tour, not just outfitting the person with gear, you know, beyond that. And we're big time hikers. I don't know, maybe there's some call for hiking at Fort Evie, Fort Casey, whatever. We've done a lot of that. So if we can maybe do some collaboration where I think since there's no more kayaking with Pen Cove Outfitters, that's Kyle's jam. I think we can work together. Those are my feelings.
Yeah, so basically that's the addition feature.
Yeah.
This year is basically.
Learn.
Getting to know, everybody down there, businesses. Hopefully get some collaboration with people.
Yeah.
Plan on going to the chamber there, introduce ourselves. But yeah, trying to keep it the same. We don't want to change it. And educating people on Coupeville, Pen Cove, the history of Pen Cove. The work that I did that when we opened up, there was a few tourists there, so we were just wow, didn't know that, so educating them on it. Here's the history of this area.
I know.
Yeah, and we're gonna have our marketing strategy is obviously the brick and mortar, but we're gonna try to have a nice online presence.
Online
So we have
store.
a website we just started. She's building that. She's very good at social media.
I've been doing social media for all businesses for 15 years. I'm incorporating that right away.
So
Smart.
so that's for fun. Yeah, and
Oh, yeah,
Thanks.
so, board have any questions or?
There's one coming.
You see the smoke.
right.
Well, Linda Echols at the chamber would be a real resource, and
I
she's,
serve on that board.
yeah. And she's a powerhouse of knowledge and whatnot. Certainly the other business owners on Front Street and Coupeville like that,
Right,
interact with them.
and long. And helpful with too. Yeah, so we can.
Yeah.
Walk up and down Front
Yeah, we
Street,
do.
Alexander, maybe themselves.
Once we get our business cards, we wanted to go to every business around there and introduce ourselves and, crack coffee business.
Yeah.
Heavy
So
coffee.
what's gonna be your number one revenue generator?
Our retail, our targeted local gifts. With our local artists, we have an artist in now that. The jewelry, local
Beach
jewelry, just amazing, and we were surprised first day we opened it. You said it.
And social media will boost that up. So I don't think she had a strong social media presence.
We want to said educate people on that area, especially Penn Cove in my opinion. So our clothing line.
We'll plant a brand.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I want to add the latitude and longitude of Penn Cove on our, so people will talk, what does that mean? Here's the history, here's the story. So local gifts, local artists.
Okay. So it seemed like there's a kayak, person down in Langley.
yeah, we'd be kind of.
You met with her?
We haven't talked to her when we first came in, stuck with her for this evening, just working for them, but we haven't talking about.
I didn't want to sell out the shows, so it's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be real careful and be supportive of him. I want
Right.
Smart.
to.
I'm familiar with the kayaks as well, so that's a smart move.
How many square feet is that space?
Or something.
Or 55 or something. It's not very big.
Yeah, so it's pretty compact.
Yeah, they have some storage upstairs. It's, we call unimproved storage, but
Yeah, okay.
yeah. John, I don't know if you remember this. You had given me this Coupeville Wharf history quite a while ago.
Right.
They had mentioned being interested in learning about Coupeville Wharf's
Right.
history. Can I give it to them?
Sure.
Absolutely. I thought you said you
That
wanted
was the
that.
only copy that I had.
Okay.
Maybe make a photocopy.
Yeah.
It's online.
Is it online?
Is it? Okay.
You can see some good video on our website as well. You can see videos done by the Shermans. You want to have generations here on the island, but take you through the history and so forth. And you'll also be informed us of a podcast we're gonna be doing, a live podcast. We're gonna have ribbon cuttings in March. There's gonna be a lot going on. It's 120th year anniversary of the war next year. So you're coming into this at the perfect time. So.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Is that before or after the muscle fest?
Well, we're looking at the podcast, not getting into all the detail. We're looking at the podcast probably in February. But Muscle Fest, we're looking at probably doing a ribbon cutting. And then in June, doing a port only kind of a doc concert series slash, beer garden. We're in the beginning phases of it. We all met as a team. We've already started kicking, so we're gonna be doing specialty shirts and swag for the 120th year anniversary. So we'll be looking at partnering with you and June for things like that. So we have a lot that's being worked on right now. That the board doesn't know about because we only met once, but there's a lot planned, but we're in rehabilitation efforts right now. So take a second seat. Looking forward.
I have a question.
Any work?
What are the different districts? Who is, what, 1, 2, 3, what is that?
They're just physical, geographical
Right.
regions within the. You
So
mean like
Martin
what is it, borders?
South?
Yeah, I'm Green Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, Martin's District 3, so he's Green Bank.
Okay.
And then you have Mary Ann Burke,
I'm in the middle.
which is in the
Between
middle,
Green Bank and the,
and the wharf.
District 2.
basically. She actually goes kind of up to the wharf, and there's a boundary there where John starts and kicks in
And it wraps
and
around.
wraps around Penn Cove, and he's District 2. So,
And most of Coupeville.
Yeah,
and most of Coupeville, it's really interesting, but
It's a
so you're the
strange,
commissioner that is responsible for the constituents in the ward is Mary Ann, but the board operates as a team and they care just as much about the farm as the wharf and the wharf as the farm and
Perfect.
so.
Yeah, I was curious on the.
Yeah, and
yeah, I mean, there's-
to run for District 3, you have to live
Yeah.
within
that
that
is very
small
strange.
geographical area that really limits the pool of people. Yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah.
You can see all that on the website.
You can see it.
I know.
That's why I didn't.
Did you say everything's on the website?
I had.
A lot of this is on the website, or we have videos on there, mainly our videos on our website. Yes, you'll see, you can choose work and then we'll get this, we'll email it to you, because there'll be a lot of information being gathered to put on this podcast. And I think any other questions for Mike and Michelle?
Very good.
Thanks, you guys, for showing up.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry to keep you awake. Yeah, welcome.
It was interesting, it's.
Very, very.
Turned to.
Yeah, all right, so now we have June, who is going to be taking over for long, believe it or not, I can't believe she's retiring, it's weird. So June, if you just want to maybe introduce yourself and I'll put the bio up here.
Okay.
And just maybe just take us through your background and your plans for the space.
Probably Chairman June Loin, she would have a born and raised in Thailand. My first name was Pranakon, just have a little bit long. She really did that. So, I moved here 2001. I went to school in Jeddah. So, I finished a BA in international business management in Bangkok. So I worked after, after finish school there, worked for bank in Thailand for 10 years. And then just get tired to count somebody money, not my money. So I just volunteer to, they tried to get me off when, the economy really dropped down. And it's like, oh, somebody wanna volunteer to off and get 12-month full bonus or something like. I'm in because I'm just get tired with that. And then I helping my friend do all bookkeeping and then all the kind of that in the music record company somewhere in Thailand. And then I'm looking to do something now and I applied to UW for some business school over there. So I planned to do it in 2001, the year with the 9/11. So and then doing at the school there, I met my husband who born and raised in Coupeville. And it's blowing, I don't know if you're familiar with that. So and then we live in Seattle for a couple of years. And after that, I still helping some Thai restaurant manage all the kitchen, all the bookkeeping and stuff over there for them until we got the kids. And then we think about what we do at that time in Seattle really extended. So my in-law offered the land to build a house here next to them. I don't know, is that wrong decision at that time? To build a house next to my in-law. So we moved back to here permanently, 2006 when my second child born here. So now, at that time, my husband worked in the UW Medical Center in Seattle, and then he still commute when we moved here. 14 years.
Thanks.
And then right now we rent an apartment for him in Seattle because he got the chance to get the head shift in the morning, so that way that he couldn't drive really short, an hour to sleep here and go back. So we decided to rent an apartment for him for 4 days to live there. So I'm here with the kid, and I just sent my last one to the college. And my kid, raised and, born here and graduated from Coupeville, school. So I start, when I come back here, if you feel you here long enough, you're familiar with Miriam Cafe?
Which cafe?
Miriam Cafe.
Not Miriam. Miriam.
Miriam?
Yeah,
Miriam on Main Street,
yeah.
It's Golden Cedar now.
Yeah, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then and Michael runs that one for the family, and then we know him, and he's shy, have a lot of health problems, so he moved to Seattle. Then they let the whole building empty for the whole year,
Yeah.
and then I said at that time I run the restaurant. I have a Thai restaurant in Seattle too, so when they move the location, I decide to let it go, will not do that anymore, and move my kid to Coupeville to go to kindergarten here. So at that time, Miriam empty. So I used to go there a lot. I love that, element inside the whole building. And then I finally I have to do something here. And then I get to elementary school. And then I talked to Frank, who Miriam's husband, and it's like, Frank, what do you think about I'm gonna land this one? And he knew me. It's like, yeah, just sign the lease and you just get in there, and then I came to be Coupeville Coffee and Bistro. I ran that for 5 years, and until the kid
my kid get involved with a ton of sport and any kind of sport they all in there, so it's just like. My husband, my husband in Seattle, commute, and I said like, oh, I work 14 hours a day, it's like, I can't do that anymore, so somebody interested in that one, I said, okay, get it, and then I sold my business. And then I said, take care of my kid and helping, and then when I just slowed down enough, and then I helping Michelle, and not this Michelle, Michelle and Jerry to set up and
At the
start
cafe on the wharf.
the whole cafe.
Yeah.
That's the one I set up everything for them, do menu, all kind of stuff for them, and helping work for them for 2 years. And then at that time, when I not work for them anymore, I start to helping Island Senior Resources. That run program, Meal on Wheels
Right.
in Island County. So I work in Bayview, and the main office there for a couple of years. And then when the position, the managers, Millside manager in Coupeville opened it, I took that because I don't want to drive down over there anymore. So I worked with Island Senior Resources Meal on Wheels program for over 8 years. Yeah, and doing that, I volunteer for the whole, like top community, helping Booster Cup, the Coupeville Booster Cup, help Waterfront Association run the pop-up restaurant, when they have, like Island Club or Muscle Fest. And doing, I have Coupeville Bistro, I won 2 times also shot buckets.
Oh, wow.
So, and then, yeah, I helping, I cooking, if you familiar, St. Patrick Day, I helping cooking all the meal over there too. Yeah, it's fun to helping all kinds of stuff. And I also the summertime, I know long for a long time since I moved to Coupeville because kind of Asian community. Yeah, and then helping her when she need help during summertime and busy. I think this year, that's the way that come up with, she say she wanna retire, she wanna sell her shop. And I knew all the stuff there, and then she's like, June, what do you think? Because her daughter don't wanna come back to take it. It's like, what do you think? You wanna do this? I'm helping you doing, you wanna run this? It's like, And then I kind of think about, I could send my young to college this year. I have nothing to do at the moment. I just work, for new one for 3 days a week, and like, okay, I talk to my husband. It's like, up to you. You want to do that, and you learn all kind of stuff already in there. It's like, yeah, and then I just told them, all right, I'll take that. Yeah. So and then the way that now, right now I'm working with her. I got everything, and I follow all kind of stuff in my house, and because everything that we start ordering for muscle fast and summertime, I don't want to take it out there. Now I have the full guest room with all the stuff. So, yeah, it is all my, like right down. And
So question, is the dog part of the deal?
Gigi.
oh, I know she when she little, and then it's so sad to see her like that.
What, 16?
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have image bulldog, but he not socialize with people. Take him up. He will bark every single one who walk in the store.
Too much.
Are you gonna do anything with food?
No.
So much jobs with food.
Yeah, I love, but like sometimes cook for somebody for too long. You just want to walk inside of, somebody's restaurant and just sit there and somebody treat you,
Yeah.
But I know what good and bad.
But you're cooking for wharf staff though, right? Because that's in your roots.
Works. It's not shame when you have something going on, But you know what, run the shop 7 days a week. I don't know what time I'm gonna do that.
True.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, yeah. I think she plans on keeping the same layout, the same product mix, but probably a
Yeah,
little cleaner.
first couple weeks of the January, we're gonna close. And after we realign and cleaning up, I'll probably move I started being a hoarder. I moved some stuff to my house, so the way that make it everything clear a little bit.
Yeah.
And I only take something out and put something in, make it organized.
And what part of the island do you live?
Coupeville,
In Coupeville?
Jacob Road,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And then
Awesome.
I feel like, I know a lot of elderly in Coupeville because like, now they start walking to the, mom takes me another day with, June, this person, blah, 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 come to see you, like, I already told them, I'm not start there after New Year.
Okay.
Well, Danielle has known her and her family for, Danielle's born and raised down there as well, so it just feels like this, the family's expanding,
Yeah,
so.
they're your brother,
That's good.
together the same year with my husband,
Yeah, that's cool. And we met Sean, right?
Sean.
We met Sean yesterday when we had our big employee meeting down there to discuss the work, so great guy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great group of tenants down there.
Yeah,
So,
it's wonderful.
yeah, thank you, June. June, do you have any questions for the board or anything?
No, I'm familiar with everything that.
That's okay. You guys are great. You guys are welcome to hang out if you want. You can take off if you want, whatever you want, but thank you, all of you, for coming in, introducing yourself and so forth.
Helping them to, because I know Linda, because I used to be part of, like commerce, all kinds of stuff before when we run a public coffee bistro. So you be part of the, business and.
Yep.
Awesome.
Looking forward to working with you.
Yeah, yeah, start looking for a home for these guys, because they're moving north as we speak.
What's that?
I said, start looking for a home for you guys, right?
Yes.
I mean, now you're in Freeling by me, now you're moving on.
And there's 3 homes in District 3.
Yeah.
Now.
2, District 1, be careful.
Oh, yikes.
All right,
Okay.
go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They won.
You.
Hey,
We're moving on now to number 9.3, Trident Insurance Program. Sounds interesting.
yeah, so I just want to keep you guys informed, to Martin's point earlier about, revisiting some of these important documents and costs, or I'm sorry, John's comment earlier about medical. I have been for years looking at alternatives for our insurance,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, it's gone up considerably. When I came here, the first bill in 2017 was 27,000, and I was just shocked. Now it's over $120,000, right? Now, of course, we have claims, we have insurance going up, we have things like that, but I am always keeping the eye out for alternatives, and honestly, there really hasn't been much.
No.
Until recently, a new player has entered the market called Trident through a broker, the name of the broker now, excuse me, Bear and Bear.
Endurus going up? Is that who you just said?
Yeah, we've been with Endurus for 10 years. We've been going up. We started out at $27,000 a year in 2017. Now
Those
we're
are not health insurance.
No, no, this is, I should have clarified that. Sorry, John. This is our property and our liability insurance that we have. So it's a very touchy process, but I had a first interview and meeting with the broker and the underwriter. And this is a program that is kicking off now in the state of Washington that has been kicked off in other states. They already have a couple ports that they were bringing on.
Okay.
It's a lengthy process. We've already set a meeting for January to come out, review all the properties. We've already had a risk analysis interview. So the reason I'm bringing this up to you is that every year when that bill hits, the anxiety builds about the cost of that, knowing it's going to continue to go up. I've always been looking for alternatives, and there just hasn't been any. We have one now that I'm researching, and I will keep you informed, but I wanted to inform the board of that.
Who do they insure besides ports?
I'm not sure, because our very first risk analysis interview was really focused on the Port of Coupeville, the history of the Port of Coupeville, the claims. This made me happy. This is why I want to continue researching this, is they wanted to know what the Port of Coupeville accomplished in the last 7 years. And I was like, in a sense, why? Well, I know why. Because 7 years ago, everything was decrepit. It was falling down. Now it's all rebuilt. So they're coming in insuring assets, historic assets that have been completely rehabilitated. They're strong, safer and less risk. Safer, less risk, because you look at some of the physical, insurance claims we filed, you know, the bulkhead. The infrastructure freezing, the lights blowing down in the parking lot,
Fuel tanks,
the fuel, yeah, which, yeah, I even told them about the fuel tanks, like, they go, so what's next? And I said, well, we're replacing the dock, and after that, we're good. And he was like, okay, and they did a really good job of asking me, but I felt were the right questions to ask them for. So there is an opportunity that we are pursuing to look at maybe not only lowering our insurance premiums, but maintaining our current levels of coverage, and maybe even options for different types of coverage. Don't know yet. But phase 2 of this is to come out, walk all the assets, inspect the assets, and take a look at all the risks and liabilities associated with Port of Coupeville. And I'll keep you informed.
Is going back to Honduras to have them reevaluate the port part of the plan?
Well, we reevaluate every year. We sit down before I do the insurance binder through Origami, it's called Origami. We sit down and look at our asset pool, we look at the value of the assets. The fact is that the wharf is now valued at a higher rate because we completely rehabilitated it. But we're also under what's called pool fund, so we just have a flat $25 million coverage. And all the assets are included, which I think is a wonderful program. And I tell you what, I'll tell you right now, I told them this as well. You're gonna have a hard time convincing me to leave Honduras because they are an incredibly reactive, supportive bunch. And I gave
And
them,
they pay claims quickly.
they not only paid quickly, they have paid a claim that was, they could have easily denied. And I agree with John, it's probably 99% insurance company would have denied. That's when the boiler, that's when the pumps were burned out in 2017.
So at the end of this, discussions you're gonna have, they would make a, proposal, a quote that we could then take action on, or?
Martin, what I'm gonna try to do, thank you for asking that, I should have said that. Is I told them that they were already talking about coming back with a proposed quote. I said, well, first of all, if we get through phase 2 in January. And you guys do your assessment and you see that you can not only provide us the same or better service at a better rate, that's significant. Your next step is to present to the board. So you will be brought in. I don't want to waste your time and my time and their time if they do a risk analysis and decide we're not going to be able to do much for you here. And they were very open about it.
So we're kind of sharing, they already know what our policy is with Honduras and how much we're paying, and they're trying to kind of beat it.
No, I haven't said that to them. They've requested it. So I have to go and they don't want my binder. They want the deck,
Yeah,
which I haven't read through. I can't understand all that crap. They want everything. So I have yet to get that to them. But I'll get that to them in plenty of time for a meeting.
Well, it's all public.
It's all public, right? So, but the way this happens in the insurance business like this is it's very sensitive. There's a courtesy, there's a method of doing this that basically sends a message out to the community that the Port of Coupeville now is seeking,
shopping around.
and I didn't, and I wouldn't say it's sensitive, and I was really surprised to hear about it. There's a lot of respect, which I admire, but, you know, I'm just letting you know I'm pursuing it. So I'll give you more information as I.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for bringing that up, Martin.
Okay, and 9.4 is election of officers for 2015.
2025?
Yeah, I do that all the time. Live in the past.
2015.
I live in the past, 2025. Of a suggestion that I think I've been improving regularly, and I like the way that the meetings have been going, and I propose that we keep the same slate of officers for 2025 that we have right now.
Good thing.
Yeah, I think we're rolling right along, and you guys are up for election next year, and I'm not, so I'm happy to do it again. You're good? Let's have a motion.
I move that we keep the officers at the Port of Coupeville.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous approval of officers the same next year, Chris.
Fantastic. That would be good.
Okay,
Okay, you guys please re-sign these, because they're boom.
yeah, let's, get
The
these
minutes
done.
also had draft on them, so we'll make sure those are in there. Thank you for noticing that.
Me, I left my name on. Can I just print it?
Oh, what's that?
It's in the wrong place.
Mary Ann Bird.
Is it there too? Oh, that
No,
one's
this one's
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gotta be fixed. And my name's spelled wrong.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this was the Anita.
Oh, my name's, you need an E on the end of Mary Ann. What's the?
I just wrote the E. Oh, yeah.
Minutes, other, you just flipped it over to, this is a minutes for.
The minutes that we approved at the beginning.
I saw this, I did it. Well,
Excuse me, who made the initial motion to keep, it was Mary Ann Burr, Commissioner Burr that made the motion to keep the, I think
keep the slate that's down and I second.
okay, so, Commissioner Shasta made a motion, and thank you, Mary. The minutes, we're gonna re-sign those minutes because the other one had the word draft on it.
Oh, right. I didn't even see that.
I didn't even notice that.
Lots of paper.
Here's
Here's the front page.
Oh, that's just the page for the minute. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay,
Now, what did I do? I lost my, oh, here it is. Do we have any commissioner reports?
Well, we got the new addition to the.
New edition, 9.1.
Oh, yes, thank you, and I wrote it in, didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, so this is just really quick on 9.5. I was contacted literally yesterday by Eric Fitch. That this is something that is going to the legislature on a different level, and someone, a small report had brought up. The fact that, what about terms that are currently 4-year for a small report, making it 6-year? And so that was something that WIPA did not consider. And so they are wanting to go out and get opinions from boards on the smaller ports on what they think they would like to do as far as adjusting the term length from 4 years to 6 years. It doesn't mean that even if all the smaller ports say, yes, please change it from 4 to 6, it doesn't mean it will happen. This is.
So this, my understanding would be that this would be the WPPA would lobby the state legislature to make a new law, and if the law were passed, then we would have the option to requesting that the voters of this district have an election for the issue, and the voters of this district could potentially approve that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a long process and it's not guaranteed, but because this came up in the discussions, they don't have a lot of time to get this presented. So that's why I said, well, I have a board meeting tomorrow. I'll bring it up and just get
I've
their
got an
opinion.
opinion.
Okay,
I've got an opinion because I was here in 1992 when the option to go to 4 from 6, this is the reverse.
Sure.
yeah,
The advantage of the 6 initially, which does not appear in this proposed legislation, is that when you have 6, there is only one commissioner elected at a time.
Right.
One turnover each. election.
One, every 2 years, somebody's term is up.
Yep.
And when we have just 4, both of
There's 2 that are up.
those two, so that the majority can change. That doesn't, the legislation that's being considered goes from 4 to 6, but it doesn't address the fact that there's still 1 and then 2. The time between them will simply change. There's no indication about the length of service of the first time this goes into place, so that it stays at the regular, what it used to be with 6.
I kind of assumed that would be part of the legislation.
It isn't there now. It isn't.
And that's the purpose
My
of discussion.
understanding was, is that the reason the Port of Coupeville, went from 6 to 4.
Yeah.
Mm,
maybe
Is there'd be more people willing to run for office.
Yes,
If
exactly,
they didn't have to do it for 6 years.
exactly. Exactly, they were having a terrible time finding.
I
people.
see, that's.
And the downside was, just like Mary Ann said, these things where all of a sudden you got two new people that don't know which end is up about the port
Yeah,
showing up, and then they gotta go through their learning curve.
So now that will be for 6 years instead of for 4.
Right, but they'll be around longer,
yeah,
so,
it seems, it's kind of strange that they were at 6 and they switched it to 4.
and it didn't help.
And now they're trying to switch it back to 6. They must have had a good reason and a thoughtful discussion of switching
I
it to
think
4.
there's only a few ports that jumped on that 4.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so they're kind of like, what's the deal? Let's get everybody on 6. And that avoids that whole, you've got an experienced commission. Boom, now that 2/3 of it is not experienced and trying to figure
Yeah.
out.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
And we're both new this year, right? And this port is operated, I guess, all right. In light of that.
certainly.
Yes, you can look at the record and see that it hasn't always been the
Oh,
case.
yeah. Yeah, and it still doesn't address the issue of people resigning their.
Right.
Exactly.
Which happens frequently or hasn't.
Exactly, this board has had a lot of resignations.
And the other part about having, say something comes up or the public's all of a sudden really upset with the way the port is operating. In 1 year, they could elect 2 new people and change the direction of the port. Sometimes that's the purpose of election, changing the
And,
direction.
and the optional part of the legislation is what you pointed out, that this legislation is not a must do, it's an opportunity. If the people wanted
Yeah,
to change to 6, they can get up a petition and put it on the ballot.
yeah, I guess I don't really have strong feelings about this. I feel like it would be nice if the legislature gave us the option and in the future, if we decided we wanted to
Or
go.
if the people decide.
Or, what, yeah, would we even be involved in that
No,
being put to the
that would
ballot?
be
No, citizen would decide they wanted to put that on the ballot?
people form committees and they put together petitions and
It'd be
they,
like a
or
petition.
an individual. We
Yeah.
have an individual in the state who has hired people to take out positions and changed a lot of things.
Sure.
Like our 1% a year increase. That was all due to,
I think my 2 cents in, I feel like I'm in probably my twilight term.
Okay.
Okay, if I do it one more time for 4 years, then I'm good. From 2015 to now. There's one observation. Number 2, I look at all the really mediocre to terrible commissioners that have been elected. People that had agendas, people that, just showed up and kept the seat warm and that was it. Didn't bring any innovation, energy. That what is really needed is that the public, you mentioned you went and spoke at the Lions meeting, right? I mean, I've spoken at the other Lions meeting and by invitation, what's going on at the wharf, and this is a few years ago. And at the end of my presentation, I said, by the way, as a entity here, you really need to get your act together and try to find better people to run for commissioners. We've had too many people that didn't carry the weight. And so, the public needs to understand what a port can do, what it is doing. We have a lot of successes, that we can talk up now. We need to have better commissioners run for my position, when it ends. Every one of our positions, we need to have 3 strong people. So,
thank you.
and we're clicking, I think we are,
Yeah.
you had to slap us around a little bit early on, right?
So do we want to take an official position on this or?
Well, your opinions would be great. Is this something, I throw something out to the board, do you guys want to just email me your opinions, or do you want to come up with a general consensus?
I think,
Whatever you want, I just told Eric I would seek your advice.
I think we're sort of neutral on the position.
I feel pretty.
I don't, I think it, because it's an option,
Whether it's 4 or 6, it's,
it's up to the,
I can see pros and cons in both.
On both.
Then I don't,
and who knows, there may be somebody who's,
I don't feel that I would wanna expend a lot of effort into switching it from one. to the
no,
other.
I wouldn't either.
But if WPPA thinks it's a good thing to do, then I trust their judgment, I guess.
We're not strong on either side.
of the 75 boards, I think only 3 of them have a 4-year term. All the rest of them are 6-year.
Yeah, my gut says.
But that's the 6-year where it's one person every 2 years.
Yeah.
And that does not appear in this. I would say that's a flaw. But I don't know how you could possibly do that.
That
No way to
it's
work.
gonna- Well, you could say Commissioner 1 is in the years that end in 2.
You'd
Commissioner
have,
2
you'd
is
have
years
to
that end in
change,
4.
you'd have to change.
We have, the problem is the turnover in your district has been so high, we haven't had a staggered approach.
But you can say,
Right.
if you
It's a
say
moot point.
there's a turnover, then the person fulfills till the end of that
Right, like you're doing.
existing term,
Yeah.
and then that goes up for election, then you could still keep the cadence even if there's a turnover, you just fulfill out till the end of that term.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, because you're the 5th commissioner in 7 years. So that whole stagger thing never worked for us because we're constantly filling that spot,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So. Yeah,
And there were some semi-decent commissioners, maybe a little bit too focused on process as opposed to,
end result,
solving problems.
yeah,
But, again, I think it's, the community needs to understand what a port can do for them and just not, willy-nilly, and, have, people run unopposed, that are just going to sit on a chair.
yeah. Okay, so my general feedback to Eric would be that the board is neutral on this right now. And, if there's more details that you can share, especially with overlapping terms, that'd be
Yeah.
great, but the board is
That
neutral.
works.
Okay,
That
that's
works.
great. Thank you
That's
for allowing that discussion to happen.
Okay, do we have any reports?
I think they're all canceled at the end of November.
Yeah.
I have something to put in number 11. It's not, I don't know if we'll have a discussion or not.
Are we done with 10?
I think so.
Did you have a report, John?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
So, kind of
I've
a
still
year.
been, sitting in on public board just to hear, broadband issues and all like that. I will say, I listened to, entity that their water main went down and how they dealt with an emergency $1 million funding of a repair of a water main for a little community out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm,
And, they have no water, because of, erosion blew out a pipe.
mm.
And listening to that process of, their board approving $1 million like that,
Mhm.
to go fix it.
Yeah, that's a job.
So it was nice hearing that, emergency funds, are a process with Public Works Board at least.
Mhm.
Mm.
So anyway,
Okay, now it's my turn. I have a comment at the end of my first year, report as food commissioner. After many years of attending POC meetings and for the past year watching how well the port is now operating, I would like a fellow commissioner to thank Commissioner Masashek for his effort to enlighten a past board on the value of forming our IDD. With the taxes being collected, we can see the huge benefits of rehabilitation already accomplished at our iconic Coupeville Wharf. And we anticipate a similar rehab of the infrastructure at Green Bank Farm. In my mind, the deterioration of the port's facilities had made it questionable that the port could continue to exist. I would also like to compliment him on his willingness to accept the facts concerning the attempt to add 2 brand new properties. Neither the broadband project or the airport purchase have been completed as initially described. Commissioner Martin Vanderpuff brings a new experience and much appreciated voice to us. His work with Libby Grown becomes a welcome look at the possibilities for Greenbank Farm, as well as a balanced look at port activities. I'm very happy to be part of this new board, and I look forward to seeing all of our skills at work together to provide taxpayers with what they agree can be the future of our district. Thank you so much, fellow commissioners. This has been a very enlightening and wonderful year for me.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to say all that on the record
Super.
because I think this board is extraordinary compared to what's been going on recently in the last 40 years of my residence here.
So, under commission discussion,
That's right.
did you hear what, happened to, the owner of the airport?
Yeah, he just wrecked his plane. I saw that.
Right?
No, I missed
He's
that.
okay.
He crashed in Spokane, 500-foot ceiling,
Oh,
popped
no.
down. It was oriented the wrong direction to land, did
Oh,
a sharp bank to get lined up. And, that banking motion, caused that and some icing, and he crashed, walked away, no injuries like that.
oh, wow.
It brings the fact to light. The owner of that airport is not a forever owner,
Oh, no, nobody's a forever anymore.
right? So, it's, we took our lumps and learning about, the ups and downs of owning an airport. Commissioner Day at that time was gung ho on that project. And I went along with it, thinking, Commissioner Day thinks, it's a good deal to. But the bottom line, what I learned is that, airports are a sinkhole for money. That a port really struggles to get money back out of. That, the federal rules, state rules and like that. Money goes in and it stays in. And so, I thought it would be an opportunity for having an entity that can make a net revenue that could be applied to the wharf, net revenue applied to the farm. So, at the same time, our community, has its own thoughts about, what the Port of Coupeville should be doing. And so.
And our community is the one that pays for
Right,
it.
right.
So that voice really matters.
Right, and that's where the other point came up that I voted against that, at the end,
Yes.
was I saw the taxpayers of our tax district being asked to carry the water on something that was really a benefit to the entire island, or most of it.
Mhm.
And so that goes into the district boundaries issue,
Mhm.
and, again, that's gonna be, it would be a heavy lift. But supposedly there are people out there outside of our tax district that see that as something that they would be willing to support. Whether we're willing to be supportive of that is a
Yeah,
different
They
story.
support it as long as it's, we pay for it. There's lots of that going around.
Yeah,
A lot of it. I'd love to have it, but have my rich uncle give it to me, and then I find out I can't afford to maintain it. Okay, is that any other comments or,
Not for me.
all right,
and it,
well, John's got more.
yeah, did everybody look at the WPPA?
Yes,
What do you think of what the data about us showed?
I didn't actually look at that. What does that say?
Well, it's a listing of all the ports,
Uh-huh. Most of them.
most of them. about what their revenues are.
It's a survey.
Yeah, they survey the ports and then it shows, salaries and this, that, and the other,
Oh.
revenues from the property tax. And it's just a useful document to kind of say,
Compares.
compare, because we're no longer a small port per se. Because of the ID, we've actually slipped into a category. And,
And our staffing
still-
level,
It depends what category you're looking at, whether.
but there are ports that are smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be.
Not a dispute.
So,
Right.
but our data is missing in action.
Oh, we're not included in this?
We're not,
Why is that?
don't know.
I thought we were included in
I
that.
can't really see. The font's so small, I can't.
Figures.
Well, this one just got released.
It's a new one.
So, but I thought, Dawn, we got an email from with us, because saying that we didn't put it in, I think Dawn was gonna go in and do that, so.
We're
I'm not sure
We're
what,
not
Missed the
listed.
deadline?
okay,
And I think because we're no longer, like a Columbia, we're like a staff of two and, out there in, the eastern part of the state. I think, we just, we deserve to be listed for what we are.
I wonder if it's too late to submit the data.
yeah, it's a missed opportunity, but we had planned on participating in that, we typically participate in that every year, but. I don't know what was going on during the time.
Then it'd be, whose job is it to get done?
It's the data has to come from Dawn. I can't populate this data. I don't have this data. This is accounting.
Good sheet report to.
What'll happen is I think, hey, Dawn, can you speak to that? That's that WIPA compensation report that we missed this year.
Hello. I think that happened at a time when I was out of town and I had done some other data procurements, and there were several different things that I was trying to get done before I left, and I just got it mixed up as something that was already, I thought it was completed. It was one of the projects, because there's several procurement and data requests from the state that I complete. And I think that it just got
Yeah.
missed.
As well
during
as
that
public
time.
records requests from Smart Procure and Open the Books Washington, which want income stuff. So I'll just tell the board, we meant to participate in it. And somehow we just missed it, so
We'll survive.
we'll see. that.
But
Yeah, because we
we're one of-
usually do.
one of 15 There's 15 ports that said it's no data, but that's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's more useful to us to find out what other people are
That's
doing.
true. But it'd be nice to see ours on there too.
Yeah, well,
Next year, they do it every year?
Yes.
Yes.
Every-
And.
Thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Forward the SBA Disaster Assistance Program Seminar. Hopefully somebody here could attend that.
No, we were all in a meeting, but I did sign up for it when I saw your email.
Yeah,
And they did just email me the presentation. That's why I signed up. So I'll forward it to you guys. You guys can look at it at your will.
yeah, just another source of money. Anytime there's money out there, we should keep our ear to the ground.
as long as we can afford it. There's never any free money.
I might find some.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
okay, I'm done.
All right, so have we got any more comments from the public?
We have no one here live and only the Woodby News Times online.
Okay. Then this meeting is concluded.
11:58. Good job, you guys.
Did we get everything signed with all that stuff on?
Yeah.